Wait and see. You know, when you can't predict the future, that can be a good strategy. But wait and see isn't always a good strategy when it comes to your retirement. In these uncertain times, the decisions you make today regarding your savings and investments can have a huge impact on your retirement. Phillip Statler and the team at Statler Financial have seen the market at its highs, its lows, and everywhere in between. They know how emotional it can be for you right now. So here's what they're doing. They're clearing their schedule to talk with you on the phone or on a video call to listen to what concerns you have and then offer help. The number to call is 863-285-3815. They are local and independent advisors who can help guide you through this. Call Phillip Statler and the Statler Financial team now. 863-285-3815 and schedule your time for a phone or a video meeting with the team. Call 863-285-3815. That's 863-285-3815. Investment advisory services offered through Statler Financial Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
1.7 Light FM. Rick Springfield is there. Hi, I'm Morning Dave. We're at 22 here before 9. Time to check in on your money and see what's going on Wall Street this morning. We had a good day yesterday. A little bit of optimism over the fact that, saints be praised, Congress is actually talking to each other. That plus the president went home, which put people a little bit more at ease on the financial markets. Let's go downtown, or actually uptown or out of town. Check in with Phillip Statler, who's from an undisclosed location doing a family visit now, and see how things are going. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. Hey, doing well today. Enjoying a little bit of time with the family, so that's been good. But yesterday was a great day, and the market's rebounding from Friday.
Yeah, sure it was.
Did get to come home, so yeah, good news there.
Yeah, it was good news to set the table. We were up 466 points on the Dow yesterday. That's 1.7%. NASDAQ was up 257. Standard & Poor's was up by 60. A lot of it, my analysts anyway, were saying just a sense of finally predictability, having the president back in the White House, and the combination of Secretary of the Treasury Mnuchin, Nancy Pelosi, and Mitch McConnell actually staying in the same room and talking to each other without getting into a food fight. You know, small favors constitute big news these days, doesn't it?
Well, it does, Dave. I mean, this is important times, and them getting together and putting together a plan, I think, helped by the president really emphasizing that it needed to get done.
Absolutely. He was pretty adamant on his tweets while he was in the hospital, and evidently those marching orders remain now that he's back in the White House tweeting and talking on the phone. Just something we've said before. Even a bad stimulus bill meets no stimulus bill at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. No doubt. We need definitely. And the Fed, the Federal Reserve has been really putting pressure too. They've done really all they can do. Now it's up to Congress to put some more stuff together. I want to mention this one, headline I saw. It's like, how dare he recover? I thought that was kind of interesting.
It kind of took the bloom off a whole bunch of Twitter roses, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It really did.
It kind of did, but it did make the financial markets feel a little bit better. They may or may not like him. We've always said money isn't political. It just likes certainty. And having Trump back in the White House gives the financial markets at least a little bit more certainty for at least the next 30 to 90 days that things are going to remain as is. It's a relatively slow news day, but we did get some information out of the federal government, and that's the trade deficit. It went up by almost 6% last month, up to $67.1 billion, and I gather that was a little bit more than the markets thought it was going to, huh?
Yeah, by about $1 billion. They expected it to be about $66 billion. So it did widen a little bit more than expected. And so, hey, our trade deficit has always been an issue. So we just have to keep working on it going forward.
Absolutely. My instinct remains that in a time of a down economy, that seeing an increase in our trade deficit, especially generated primarily by an increase in imports, at the very least means consumer activity is going strong, and it's one of those things that bad news is actually good news because it indicates we are actually spending money. And for the moment, I think that might be a positive stimulus for the market on the short term. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, at this point, yes, you're right. I mean, spending money, buying things, that shows that the economy is at least trying to keep going, which is good right now, given all that we're seeing. And we continue to see slowing numbers. And some of the headlines I'm seeing now is that the numbers coming out for this next quarter are going to continue in that direction, which is not good. And it's why we need Congress to get their act together and get something put together.
Absolutely. A Band-Aid or a patchwork of some sort to, at the very least, the markets know what to respond to would make sense. Talking about guidance and information for the upcoming quarter, the earnings season hasn't actually begun yet, but I did see a whole flurry of re-ratings. Companies like Fifth Third Bank, one of the big regional banks, Regions Bank, Bank of America, all had their targets raised as we get a week or two away from getting the first flurry of earnings season. I wonder if that might bode well, at the very least, for the financial sector we'll be hearing about a week or so.
That would be nice. You're right. You're not the only one seeing that. I saw a lot of banks get re-rated upward, as well as some other stocks getting re-rated too. It's one of those times where there's no earnings really coming out. I do have one that we'll talk about in a minute, but other than that, it's kind of wait and see as to what earnings are really going to look like.
And as we get to the point, as we get closer to earnings season, a lot of big companies put out guidance saying, now we're going to do a little bit better, a little bit worse than we expected, because the worst thing to have happen is when you actually put out the report to miss by a mile, either the up or the downside, because either way, investors look at that and say, do these guys really know how to run a company?
Yeah, you're right. That's true. And so we did have the only company I have reporting. I know Levi Strauss comes out after the market closes today. But we did have Paychex, the payroll company. And, that one is I would say kind of a bellwether, right? Because payroll, they're dependent upon payroll, which means people have to be working. And they did beat by about 8 cents a share based on what FactSet thought it would be. Their revenue beat also. They're not really getting much of a bump in terms, well, yeah, they are now. Sorry, they weren't bumping. They're up about 0.75% right now.
Well, that's good to hear at the very least. And yeah, as you say, that's a good bellwether between Paychex and ADP. That's probably our best reading as far as how the economy is doing as far as private sector employment. If they're writing more checks, obviously more people are being employed.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what drives their revenue.
Absolutely. Resetting the table for the morning. Green day on Wall Street yesterday. All three of the major indexes were up measurably and actually substantially. The one thing that might affect us later on this morning is Jay Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is due to give a speech as far as the Fed's outlook as far as how the economy is going to be going. One will assume he's going to say something to the effect that we need a little help out of the administration and Congress right now. And that kind of puts us in a little bit of a holding pattern as far as direction. 45 minutes before we open, Phillip, what are you seeing for a direction this morning?
It's a little bit of a mixed bag this morning, Dave. We've got the Dow having a really good start today, up 0.5%. That's like $141. The S&P 500 up about 0.2. And then the NASDAQ's down about 0.25%. So a little bit of a mixed bag there. Same on the commodity side. We got silver down about 0.8%. Gold's basically even right now. Crude oil. I did see a headline that said Saudi Arabia has built their budget around $50 a barrel oil between now and 2023. We'll have to see if that works out for them. But right now, crude's up 2.5% to $40.16 a barrel.
And that largely I'm seeing written off the fact that they're shutting down a lot of the Gulf oil derricks because of the advent of Hurricane Delta, which is now up to being a Category 3 on the last update. So they're shutting down the derricks there, and that's prompting supply chain disruptions.
And that's true. I hadn't thought about that. I haven't really paid attention to it. Up in Tennessee, you don't have to really pay attention to hurricanes, but it looks like poor Louisiana is in for it again, and that's going to be not good for those guys against the coast there.
Absolutely not. Yeah, one of the wind charts I was looking at, that if it misses the Yucatan, it could actually get up to being a Category 4. Definitely not what we're looking for. Overseas markets, everything pretty well up in the Asian rim this morning at the close. Ditto in Europe. Both British and German markets are up between 1/4 and 3/4% midway through their day. Phillip, you're operating remote, but I know the office is open and taking appointments. Stability counts for a lot. How do I get a look at my retirement portfolio from some unbiased eyes?
Absolutely, Dave. Give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your financial x-ray, where we really dive into your portfolio to determine how much risk that you're taking and make sure it lines up with what you're comfortable with. So that's the deal there. And then follow us on Facebook. All you have to do is search under Statler Financial Services and like and follow us there. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show. This weekend, it'll be 6 a.m. on Saturday and 10 a.m. on Sunday. I'm pretty sure we're going to get preempted on Saturday at noon. So on Highland News Talk 7:30.
Yeah, I got the confirmation yesterday. It's going to be a noon start for the Gator game on Saturday. So 6 o'clock Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Sunday morning on News Talk 7:30. I appreciate it, Phillip. You have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow, all right?
All right, man. Sounds good, Dave. Thanks.
Thank you much. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler. Wait and see. You know, when you can't predict the future,